Now the next one's fine grain and gross grain screens cover each of the senses. Controlled by holodynes, these screens adjust according to one's conscious state of being and help create our holographic experience of reality. Particle, fine-grained, and wave, gross-grained information creates a dual information system that reverse transforms according to subordinate biological systems that organize the fine and gross screens via intense ionic activity into patterns that create quantum coherence throughout the system. Memory storage takes place as incoming information from the senses is transduced into acceptable coherent patterns and stored as holodynes within the microtubes for quicker processing the next time information takes a similar form. Maybe we're not quite understanding what particle and wave is. Wave is more the emotion. Wave is the frequency. Wave is like if you enter in the room and you feel the emotions in that room. That's the wave information that you get all the time. You can't see it, but it doesn't mean it's not there. And particle is like the couch in the room, the desk in the room. So you're receiving two information at the same time. The hard physical objects in a room tell you one thing, but then the energy tells you something else. It's like you might see another human that's particle to you, but they also give off a wave. And it's more or less, is the wave incoherent with the particle? Does the particle say one thing but actually do another? That's sort of like why we're experiencing a lot of insanity is we are saying one word, but actually inside us we're completely different. And it's the alignment of the two that we need to, get, and then you'll get sanity. Memory storage takes place as incoming information from the senses is deduced into acceptable coherent patterns and stored as holodynes within the microtubes for quicker processing and the next time information is somewhere. I read that. Gaborian transduction allows information coming from hyperspatial fields to be transmitted along strings of water molecules and align according to the holodynes. In this way, information from parallel worlds and from other information systems within the space-time continuum are made available to every conscious life form. Okay, so there is a great deal that could be said about transduction and its quantum implications. Even more can be said about the beyond quantum implications. For this reason, I have included a special section of quantum computers in the next chapter. From this view, choice is the central to life. Everyone chooses the reality they experience, both from conscious focus and from quantum coherence. A multiple feedback web is constructed to form personality, and in that context gives form to every set of circumstances in the dance of life. Parallel worlds, the implicit order, quantum potential field, and the full potential self are intimately connected to potentially every information system in both parallel worlds and in this world. This whole system of information, literally a holodynamic information system, along with its mechanisms and processes, adjusts as sensory screens, fine-grain and gross-grain screens, and sets up the information input to adapt its coherence holographic, choice, psychological form. It is this complex information network from which personality emerges that goes through stages of development and creates causal potency in the life of the person. That's why when you want to go out and judge your world, you are not seeing that what you judge is actually what's in yourself. If you go out and see a bunch of stupid people, that means that you are stupid. If you see a bunch of negative people, that means you are negative. Hard pill to swallow. I even say it with this Voctor group that they're seeing an awful lot of negative shit. But for me to even judge them to be negative means there's some aspect of me inside that's negative. I know that it's a positive thing. I know that they're bringing advertisement out. I know the dance that's being played. Yet for me to even say that it's negative in any way, shape, or form means that there's something negative in me. There's no aspect of this dance that's negative. I know that, but I don't use those words. Got caught up in the emotions. Seen some text, seen a video, I seen particle, I seen wave. It made me react. It made me feel that negative to the point where I would say that it's something negative. But to judge other people is to judge yourself. You are only looking at a holographic reflection of what's inside yourself. That's why ego is like kind of, as soon as you separate yourself from yourself, it's kind of insane. So it's like, rock on with the ego. Anybody who's got an ego is dealing with some form of mental illness. From within the womb, through birth, childhood, young adulthood, and into career and marriage, family, and midlife, one's sense of relationship continues to grow. Even as the person passes through midlife into the empty nest stage, the golden years and the declining years, relationship holodynes are empowered to handle each stage of their emerging consciousness. These holodynes, inherited from one's ancestors, self-create models for us, or emerging from parallel worlds, take over our relationships. Each relationship holodynes emerges. They literally create and control how people relate. They can manifest unresolved conflicts within the individual and act these out within the relationships. Relationships can be close bonding or distant, intimate, and open, disconnected and closed, dominant, submissive, codependent or interdependent, and much more. Relationship holodynes take on a self-preserving, self-perpetuating, and self-declaring power. This answers why the cycle of abuse keeps getting repeated. That you may seem like my kids, while they're kids, will act similar to the way I acted when I was a kid, but because they're going to say this is a different time, different generation, they're going to say, you know, parents don't know what they're talking about. Yet, when I was a kid, my parents said that, you know, they knew more than me, and, you know, I said the same thing, that parents don't know what they're talking about. We tend to say, in general, the same thing is going on, although it's like we just put different wallpaper on the wall and think it's a different room. It's not. And when, for example, I see my kids doing exactly the same thing I'm doing, or when I was making my mistakes, I know damn well they're going to repeat the same experience I had, maybe a little different, but they've developed the same habits. It's in their genes. And until they can see what the patterns are, they'll never jump out of it. So that's one thing that I was more concerned on, is breaking the cycle of abuse, and I have not found anybody that can explain how this can be broken. This science does explain it. In this sense, every relationship develops a mind of its own. So powerful is the relationship mind that we gave it a name. It becomes a being of togetherness, or bot, B-O-T. The bot develops its own causal potency and becomes a powerful factor in forming of both individual and collective consciousness. Family systems. Fully functional individuals develop fully functioning relationships. However, since holodynes, such as the bot mentioned above, can pass on from generation to generation, can also emanate from parallel worlds. Any study of consciousness must include the further dimensions of intimate systems, as in families. The fact is that families provide the arena for the emergence of a wide variety of specific holodynes. Family holodynes can be caused by the experiences or environments within this time or space, and each family brings with it an entire scenario of holodynes. Each family has a mind of its own. Each parent brings into the family the holodynes of his or her ancestry tree. In addition, they bring the holodynes of their own experiences and they add self-created holodynes. When a couple is married or joins together and creates a child, their individual holodynes combine in a unique ways and act themselves out throughout the life of the child. Parents may wonder sometimes if the child they bore has any relationship to them because some of the holodynes are so unique. We have learned that family members may also reflect family holodynes from parallel lives. In other cases, the child is a chip off the old block. Consciousness, in all its complexity, seems to use parenthood as an opportunity to create maximum possibilities. Which of these possibilities becomes a manifest reality depends partly upon choice of the individuals. One can choose their holodynes, access their subconscious agreements made by their counterpart full potential self, and access information from beyond the confines of time and space. Family members are all under covenant. Families are forever, as it said. These intimate agreements are an integral part of consciousness and have great causal potency in people's lives. Once understood, such agreements can be renegotiated and their subconscious control can be creatively transformed. Such dynamics show up continually in family and relationship counseling. Various dances and rackets that are being orchestrated among family members, for example, are consistently found to have a hidden implicit order that contains their intentionality. Once identified, these enfolded intentions can be renegotiated and transformed. This is done partly through dialogues among family members and partly through accessing the holodynes and dialoguing in ways that potentialize the holodynes. In other words, the potential that drives the situational dynamics, the intention, is identified and its manifestation is renegotiated in line with the person's full potential. The good news for families is that not only is the universal conscious and connected, but it is also dynamic and responsive. People can transform their family holodynes, shift their information fields, and create a new reality within their family system. Social systems. Hierarchies of learning are evident in all social systems. These systems are self-organized holodynes come from environmental input as modeled by society, from holodynes formed from socially created beliefs, taboos, myths, traditions, and lifestyles. They also come from information systems inherited from ancestral genetics and from hyperspatial dimensions. Such hierarchies are composed of collective-held holodynes that self-organize into social systems. They have a mind of their own. This is why, I pointed out Sarah Palin is trying to say that our society is not responsible for each individual. Bullshit. Society, family, all play a major role in our belief systems, and she's trying to say in her last speech that her putting crosshairs and implying that people in her own country that disagree with her should be shot and killed and done away with, her saying violently that we should shoot and kill Julian Assange for letting out all of the secrets of these criminals. Sarah Palin's secrets are coming out and she doesn't like it, so nobody wants to know her business. She wants you killed. Very violent person, as she's doing a speech that says violence is never the answer to anything. She cannot relate to her words do influence society, and then society creates a rule based on her actions. If it's good for her, it's good for everybody. It's teaching people. You cannot have a school and think that school doesn't teach you something. We are learning day in and day out by the words people say, and our leaders. They seem to think that they don't have to have good morals to be good at politics, but your morals definitely will reflect every choice you make. And I haven't seen any good morals lately. Even John F. Kennedy cheated on his friggin' wife. If he cheated on his family, what would he do to your country? It's the same friggin' morals that they use in business, that they use in their family, and they keep giving speeches and try to influence society that says the two aren't related. Well, if that rule is true for them, then it's true for all of us, that our morals don't have to be important at all in our workforce.